Hey, hello, howdy, how you doing? Welcome to an anomaly in this series. This episode is entirely building focused since we've survived almost a month in game at this point and haven't built a single defensive structure on the fort. This is going to be more of a time lapse of the defenses me, Rick, and Aragon built during the duration of these 2 to 3 in-game weeks. So if you like building projects, well, this video is for you. And if you don't, I'm sorry, but check back next week for the grand finale, where you'll get to see all these defenses in use by our entire team. That's really all I have, so let's get into it. Getting started, I need sheet rope because I'm going to have to commit mass deforestation, so I set off to find some zombies near the mall. Luckily, a few were hanging around near the northeast parking lot, so I took care of them before heading back to gear up. With 40 sheet rope, a couple axes, and a saw, I set out to purge the nearby tree line. This took forever since I went in with a slow worker trait, making it incredibly time consuming to do anything from cutting down trees to even picking up logs. The most time-consuming task came with sawing the logs, which took several IRL hours over the course of this build. It took early into the next morning to saw through all the logs from the first haul, but I ended up with around 430 planks to work with. I spent most of the early morning moving planks to the top floor of the fort, where I began the long process of fencing in the third floor. Multiple group members, including myself, had fallen off of here on our own accord, so I can't imagine how chaotic it would be if we threw a few thousand zombies into the mix as well. I chose to build out walkways from each of the 4 corners. This way, we could space out some more to prevent the group from getting backed into a corner and choosing between getting torn to shreds or breaking their legs by jumping into the abyss. The slow worker tray was a real killer for me since it extends to carpentry in general and makes building fences and flooring incredibly tedious. This continued through the early morning before I ran out of planks, forcing me into another round of tree chopping madness. Fast forward several hours later, and I'm back at base sawing more logs into planks. By that evening, I had finished sawing all my planks and began working on building again, with a focus on continuing the platform. About an hour into the second round of building, I fell off the platform, in which Aragon had to fix me up. At this point, Aragon and Rix had hopped on and were eager to help, running planks up to me while I continued building. It wasn't until the end of the second day of building that we realized we could just build a sheet rope ladder off the main platform, allowing us to run planks and logs up here in seconds instead of hobbling back and forth every couple minutes. Rick began placing piles of planks along the wall, which I took to utilizing while him and Aragon set out to chop down some more trees.
Do we have more axes?
The building continued on for several days while I took a break. Came back to the next day to see Rick and Aragon had been putting in a ton of work on the base, fencing in a massive chunk of the platform and setting planks on every several tiles for me to continue with. Oh, and I also broke my other leg when I missed the sheet rope platform by one tile and just threw myself over the edge. I began using the excess planks to build windows around the interior staircases, so that if anyone got caught inside, they could retreat up the stairs and hop through the windows, which would slow down the zombies chasing them. I completely walled in both sets of stairs in the southern end of the base. I figured having 2 escapes was enough, and if we kept all 4 staircases open along with the exterior stairs, well, we'd be swarmed within minutes. The duo's work wasn't contained to just the base either. They also chopped down dozens of trees, allowing me to bypass the grind of having to spend hours and hours on the same process. I did have the honor to photobomb one of Rick's thumbnails before a stream, so I wanted to include that in here as well. With the platforms fully built out, I began layering fencing along each walkway so that zombies would be tripped up as they closed in, effectively prolonging the inevitable. After wrapping up the platform, I switched focus to the ground floor. We have our last stand built out, but we didn't have any initial defenses to hold the zombies at bay. I wanted to build a set where we could all contribute if we had to fall back, while allowing any injured to retreat and heal up. My solution was to buy as much time as possible by layering fencing every tile, so that the zombies would have to fall over each fence, lay down, stand up, register, then hop the next fence one at a time, repeating the process. I did a similar wall near the sheet rope, building out a rectangle fencing to slow down any advancing zombies. Closer to the rope, I built out a windowed building that would force zombies to fall through single file before being able to swing at the rope. The hope here is that while a player is climbing through the windows, the zombies will hit the fence, giving the player enough time to climb to the top of the platform before the zombies make it through the windows and destroy the rope with anyone on it, which could risk killing the player. I finished up fencing at the main gate that afternoon. The only issue with this is that we can't bring any vehicles in or out of the base from this point onwards. With some defenses now built out, I moved on to the next task. See, we're an incredibly unorganized group and have really just been dumping loot in any crates we had with no rhyme or reason to it. To address this, I built a ton of crates in the center platform and began moving all of our weapons, non-perishable food, medical supplies, and ammo into a centralized location. I tried to keep the crates organized by weapon type as well, and even crafted a ton of spears with the excess planks. As a friendly reminder to all the keyboard connoisseurs in the comments already, we decided to avoid any cheese builds for the sake of keeping this as entertaining as possible, so no crate fence builds to save us this time. With certain doom around the corner, I took time to relax in a froggy chair. We had made it to Fort Knox, looted valuable supplies and weapons, and built solid defenses. Chose to leave the courtyard fairly open to allow us to kite zombies into varying corners to keep each other safe, but the final battle would come down to pure skill. Everything we have built is intended to allow us as players to showcase our skill in combat both as a unit and what we can do once the bodies start to pile up and plans fall apart. Thank you to my YouTube members and Patreon supporters. You're the reason I get to spend endless hours building defenses for a single video. I'll see you next week for the grand finale. I appreciate you all, and as always, thanks for stopping by.